Since 2022, Mercy and the Mayo Clinic have partnered to help improve patient care. Chris Bryant is live in our newsroom with how that partnership is improving healthcare not only in Springfield, but across the country. Chris?
Yeah, good morning, Lee. It's a 10-year collaborative between the two healthcare systems. In all, it's going to share that non-identifiable information of over 500 million patients between the two hospitals. The goal is simple when it comes to the two working together. They hope that being able to share the information, the two systems will be able to help find diseases earlier and start treatment sooner. The information shared is limited and doesn't include any of that identifying information on who a patient is, and the cross-platform used with the medical records has been vetted by a third party to ensure your information is private. The treatment outcomes and data is benefit, and with the use of artificial intelligence being able to spot health problems earlier and generate patterns to diseases earlier and provide treatment options.
Going to allow not only just Mercy, but Mayo to do research, to develop AI, to develop products to hopefully detect disease earlier in its course. And then also, rare outcomes that are harder to find when maybe you only have access to your own healthcare system's patient information.
The demographics and geography of the two healthcare systems is expected to improve the accuracy and create a more robust database when it comes to finding and preventing those diseases. In the newsroom, Chris Bryant. Lee, back to you.